What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and a funny thing happened to me the other day. I was on my live stream, and some of my viewers were like, "Man, you got Bison on your free-to-play account, and he's only at level 90." And I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and level this guy up because this guy actually has increased all damage to your enemies by 30% whenever you take him to A5. And the funny thing about it is, I had 3 actual memories for Bison, which means I could have done a change of kit, and I still had a free change of kit from the Street Fighter collaboration. So I didn't even need to use those 3 memories. And on top of that, I had 6 generic SS memories, which I could easily level up. And as you guys see, I leveled them up to A5, took them all the way up, and I was like, man, this is going to be great. I'm going to be able to use them with my A7 Gen and really pump out some damage. But here's the kicker, and this is what leads me up to the video that I'm giving you guys today. Whenever I level him up, I put all these resources in this character, my friends. Something happened, and that is we're missing a little something called a 3PG. I don't have his 3PG. And the crazy thing, or the thing is, whenever you're playing in Guild Raid and you're really shooting for those big scores, if you're doing a team effort, you need 2 characters to do long 3PGs, at least 2, and then you can have 1 support character like Kusanagi, offer that extra 60% attack and increase all damage received by 35% for 10 seconds just by tagging him out, bringing him in, tagging him out, right, getting your buff from the first skill, the 60% increase of all attack, and you're good to go. However, when you don't have the 3PG, it is useless. It is absolutely useless. And the thing is, right, because he doesn't have a 3PG, because Bison doesn't have a 3PG, and say I was to use, 2 other characters with 3PGs, my damage would be worse because I'm not using Kusanagi. Kusanagi at level 90 is still a better support than Bison at A5, because Bison, he is giving increased all damage received by 30%, but Kusanagi gives increased all damage received by 35% and 60% increase of all attack. So this leads me into the video at hand, which is, anytime you pull in these banners, guys, and you're trying to set up a team for Guild Raid, you should absolutely make sure that they have a nice long 3PG, that 2 of them has long 3PG. Your main damage dealer should have their 3PG, obviously, and 1 other character can, and you don't even need the correct dots in order to get it done in Guild Raid. Now, the character that I'm going to showcase today that I'm going to be using for that long 3PG does have a relevant dot, but you're going to notice that I'm not really going to be using, I'll use it, but you don't really need it, guys, because all you need is strikers. And that character that I want to kind of show off today is Baiken. That's right, a character that has been in the game for quite some time, ever since the Guilty Gear collaboration, and a character that I've shown love on other videos before because Baiken really is awesome. She's awesome for a lot of reasons because she's got a lot of built-in increased target damage received in her kit. Now, I want to be fully transparent with you guys. I actually did a little damage run on the live stream last night where I compared her and just using Fest Nostalgia Chun-Li, and because of the rotation, because of the timing of how everything works out, and I could bring in Jin exactly at the right moments every time, I actually could get about 5 billion more damage using Chun-Li. But however, some people don't have Chun-Li. Some people might have Baiken. Some people might have Dizzy. Some people might have other characters that have these super insane long 3PGs that make all the difference. And I'm going to show you guys why this is so important, okay? So I'll pull up the run for you guys right now, and you guys will be able to see exactly what's going on. So, whenever you're doing your Guild Raid runs, right, you're always going to start off, well, you're not always, it just depends, but in this situation, we're going to start with, Jin, we're just going to hit his 3PG and go straight into this thing, right? We're just going to go straight into his 3PG. That way, whenever we bring him in the next time, we can use our concentrate and just apply a crap ton of damage. Well, after this, you need another character that can apply a nice long 3PG. Now, Baiken has 30% PG rate in her core, and this is what's nice, guys. Look at that nice, in fact, beautiful 3PG that she has. And here's what I want you guys to notice. Look at the time frame on my tag in for my Jin. It is at 0.3 seconds. Now, that's going to be less as we go because we actually had to build up our 3PG just a second ago, but the way this is going to work is you'll always be able to bring in Kusanagi, which is a little bit of time for Jin to come in to be able to do a lot of damage, right? So now we're just going to spam our skills. We're going to do our first and third skill over and over and over, do our default, blah, blah, do our 3PG. By the way, A7 Jin just getting it done, man. And this is a free-to-play account, guys, so it's not going to have the damage numbers that my main account will. You guys know that. We've talked about it multiple times as far as the codex and so on. All right, we'll let Jin take the damage, okay? Now, I want you guys to notice something here. Let me back that up a little bit. If you notice, guys, we have 13 seconds on that tag in for Jhin. 13 seconds. Now watch what it is whenever she gets done doing her 3PG. And this is why it's so important to have these long 3PGs for these characters, okay? All right, now look, 3 seconds left. So literally, I go through her skills, I apply the first skill to get that increased target damage received, and then we bring in Kusanagi, we do the 2, 3, 1 to get the 6% increase of tag, and once we tag out, we'll get the increased all damage received by 35%. And by that time, we can bring in Jhin right away. And we bring in Kusanagi, we apply damage, we got 1 second left on Jhin, and then boom. And this is why it's so important to have these long 3PGs, so you can get yourself in a nice set rotation as far as doing your skills. Every single time that Rugal does his explosion, it's going to be on my Jhin. He's going to do it at the same time every single time. And that's why it's so important and why it sucks that I didn't get Bison's 3PG. Honestly, guys, I'm kicking myself in the freaking rear for not pulling for that damn 3PG, because Bison is so good for this. My damage numbers would be so much better with his increased all damage received and Kusanagi. It'd be so much better. And I have proven this before. And yeah, I mean, again, I'm not going to get more damage using Baiken, but what I'm trying to show you guys is that anytime you pull for characters, you see these long 3PGs, and I may be testing this with other characters in the future, you can get yourself in a nice set rotation. Baiken does have bleed in her kit when you tap the second skill twice. However, if you just tap it once, and that's when you get the increased target damage received from her core when you apply shock damage, and that's exactly what I'm doing when I tag her in. After she does her 3PG, you'll notice I'll hit her second skill one time, and then I'll hit her first skill to get the increased target damage received on the first skill. Okay, so we'll go 1, 2, there we go, boom. And then we bring in Jhin, right? It's not perfect, right? And that's why, you know, I did a little bit more damage with Chun-Li, because with Chun-Li, I mean, I can time things just beautifully, right? But this worked out really well with Baiken. Honestly, it was really easy to pull off. I know some of you are going to be like, yeah, because you're using A7 Jhin. True. He could do an absolute solo. Absolutely. True. But, I mean, say your character, you know, like maybe a character doesn't have the survivability that you want. Well, if you had a character that had that long 3PG but had a lot of decreased damage received or decreased damage received taken, they could actually absorb the damage for you, right? I mean, we've done all kinds of runs where that is completely feasible, but it really does suck that I leveled up Bison and I can't use him. But Baiken is doing very well for me in this. I mean, and this, another thing about this video, guys, is that, you know, all these old characters that we have, and if you guys want to see other characters that we could throw in here, let me know down in the comments. All these old characters you could still use. There's tons and tons of them from our previous collabs that their 3PGs don't get interrupted. You know, I know people that still use Baiken to this day for runs against Gilray. They still use her because she can still get the score, no problem. She can easily get that 1.25 billion, especially if she's leveled up, right? You're using certain card sets on her. And the same goes for plenty of other characters like Dizzy, Eno. I mean, I'm naming Guilty Gear characters, but guys, even DOA 6, like there's lots of characters that can absolutely, you know, play a part in your team or be the main damage dealer. And this is, and like, the thing, and that's the thing about this game mode, right, is that, you know, because it doesn't take that much to get the best rewards, you can use any characters you want. You can use any team composition you want. In this team, guys, like, as long as you have a Bleeding Striker in Hydern, and you have a Poison Striker in Zhang Fei, or, you know, even Bison, you're always going to be able to use whatever characters you want. As long as they're, you know, 2 of the characters, 3PGs, don't get interrupted, you'll always be able to use them and get it done, right? Now, if you're using like, you know, 2 characters that have 3PGs that don't get interrupted, and neither one of them have very good survivability. In this situation, Jin's the one that has all the survivability. If neither one has any survivability, then it's not going to work out too well for you. But if one of them does, right, or the one that doesn't have very much survivability, you just put a Healing Striker like 98 Athena on, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. You can make any team work if you really want to, especially against Omega, because he doesn't put down darkness on the ground. In my opinion, he's just way easier than Nightmare Geese, right? You can always tag in characters after, you know, before Rugal does his explosion if you time it correctly. I mean, so he's just a lot easier to deal with, in my opinion, right? By the way, with Zhang Fei, you guys are seeing I'm going to hit 41 billion, right? with Zhang Fei, I was able to hit like 40, or not Zhang Fei, but with Chun-Li, Nostalgia Chun-Li, as my, I guess, meter breaker, I was able to do about 47 billion with her, right? But I mean, still, right? 42 billion. And again, if you don't have Chun-Li and you was using Baiken, you still could do really, really well. And if you had other characters, you would do really, really well. I'm not saying Baiken's the best choice, guys. What I'm saying is because the timing of that 3PG that a character like her has and others in the game, right? They always can remain relevant. You can always use them and get it done in the game if you choose to do so. That's what makes the game fun, guys. You know, we know that Netmarble is very stingy with the reward system. They don't want to reward us for the amount of difficulty that we're putting in. So if you're going to play the game, just have a good time just playing with whatever characters you love. And that's really what you should do in any game. In any game I play, guys, any of them. Whoever my favorite character is in that game, that's the one I always put the most emphasis on. That's the one that I always put the most resources into, or even the most money, right? Everyone, you know, with PGR, it was Nier Automata collaboration, right? With Marvel Future Fight, it is the Hawk. Within this game, you guys know that it's Rugal and Leona, right? Always those two, right? So, I mean, that's how I always play all these games, right? I just wait for my favorite character or a character that I really love the animations for or the attitude to. And I just, you know, try to work with that character and set up a team or set up runs with that character to have a good old time, right? Especially in Netmarble games that really doesn't reward you for pushing the difficulty that much. So, guys, let me know what you think about good old Baiken here, still proving that she is worthwhile to have. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See you, everybody.